The meeting will come to order. Call of the roll, please. Paige?
Commissioner Conant?
Present.
Commissioner Ziegenmeier? Here. Commissioner Boomgarden? Commissioner Wooten? Commissioner Munger?
Here.
Commissioner Cochran?
Here.
Commissioner Baines? Commissioner Espandola?
Mr. or Mrs.?
Mr.
Or Miss? I don't even know. I'm just Miss.
Commissioner.
Commissioner Spandola, I'm here.
And Commissioner Elphick.
Okay, will you please join me in pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A motion, please, for the agenda.
So moved.
Regular moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Chair, I oppose. I was not here.
Public comment at this time. I don't see anybody wanting to jump up for the public, so
Clarification, Chair. I didn't mean to say abstain. I meant to say not oppose, but abstain, Chair, because I was not here at the last meeting.
She abstained from that motion of the approval of the agenda.
she object,
She abstained.
sustained? Oh,
Abstained.
okay, that's fine. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the closed personnel session. And John is going to lead us to where it's across the way somewhere that we have to go. Okay,
You missed public comment too.
I know, I put it out. I
Oh, did
asked
you?
for it. I didn't see any
okay.
public,
All right.
anybody
Didn't hear
get up to talk. So,
Go back here?
no, it's full,
Because there's not that many of us today.
yeah.
Through the chair, and I know I'm not the public, but I do want to make a comment that's sort of a public comment. Today, we had an issue at my plant. It's a lumber company, sawmill, reman. And we felt that one of our employees either had a heart attack or a stroke. So we have a protocol exactly of what we do when that occurs. And we executed that protocol. First thing is call 911. And then there's other things that we go through. Okay. We have been in business there like 30 some years. And in that entire time, we have never had an issue on the 911 call. And it takes about 3 minutes to get fire department, and then the ambulance usually comes second after that. Today, it was so long in getting there that I'm out there with the person who's having the issue. And I talked to Sean. I said, Sean, call Mike and see if he really called 911 because this has been 10 minutes, no one's shown up. What turns out is the 911 dispatcher was arguing with my vice president about, well, I need to talk to the person who's having this problem. I mean, we have never had that issue, ever. Is he breathing? Is he breathing hard? Is he conscious? You've got to give me that information before I can do anything. And then finally, the 911 operator hung up on him. I just want to bring that to, and I know we have county here and we have city here. This is not good at all. Not good at all. I mean, I have had the 911 answering people have been awesome. And the fire department and the ambulance service, I mean, we can rely on them. And when we have an issue, it's a big issue. You know, like a full deglove on someone. And this was, I was just appalled. Now, the gentleman is fine. He's in the hospital. But I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Thank you.
Through the chair, I just want to comment right there, and I'm no, I'm in the county, so I don't answer for the city or so forth. I just know something like that should never happen, first of all. Let's just put it there. But I will let the public know that, we're hurting in any one of those fields, not just in fire, in sheriff. Like I said, I'm talking about the county, not speaking for the city, because I don't, but what I'm getting at is, and especially the dispatch in our area. So in personnel, I mean, we have those that are not even dispatchers that are getting trained as dispatchers. We have a fire chief here in the audience here, captain, who will go in and take turns there, dispatch, it seems like, getting trained up on it for those not being there. But I'm assuming the city councilwoman, Grace Espandola, will look into that, because I'm assuming that went to the city there.
I think it should be the city, but I wasn't sure. And I just thought, well, this is a perfect place to bring up the issue.
I could imagine, because, I run a big shop too, a welding fabrication shop, and
Dangerous.
when you call, you
You expect them to respond.
100%, very scary.
Yeah, very, very scary.
Taken to the individual that is,
I was getting truly anxious. And
you can imagine.
Yeah, 10 minutes is a long time when you're sitting there.
So
Yeah.
just to clarify on that, how we can look through that, we'll check the audio, listen to the dispatch situation, and remediate whatever occurred, and I'm so sorry that you and the person, whoever involved, on the behalf of the city, but we're gonna take care of that,
I
okay?
just think it was a training issue.
We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Just
go.
no, do it right now. Adjourn to closed session.
Yeah, we need to adjourn.
You have to get it on the tape.
We are adjourning for the closed session. Okay. Back to order. From the closed session, the council will give the report. Thank you. Okay, back to our agenda. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the September 8th meeting. I need a motion and a second.
Move to approve. Second.
Regular moved and seconded that the minutes of the September 8th meeting be approved as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
One abstention, I wasn't here.
Yeah, two,
One abstention.
One abstention.
two
Yes.
on the second, thank you.
Okay, item number 6 is the consent agenda. Need a motion and a second.
Move to approve, Conant.
Regular moved and seconded that the consent agenda be approved. Need a roll call, Paige, please.
Commissioner Conant,
Aye.
Commissioner Ziegenmeyer. Commissioner Munger. Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Commissioner Espandola,
Commissioner Spindola, yes.
Commissioner Elphick.
Yes.
Okay. The next item is a public hearing on regarding fire and EMS municipal services review. It is now open for public hearing. Well, I don't see any public, so
I have nothing, I wanted to just talk to everybody about the status of the MSR. What happened is I did not receive a product which I was promised, and I have written Beverly Burr an email requesting an administrative draft by the 23rd of December. If I receive no such draft, then will terminate our agreement, and the commission will then recruit for another consultant to do this project. That's really all I can do at this point. And hopefully a good part of it's done. I just want to get it done and out on the street. So anyway, that's really the only report I have regarding that.
okay. Next item is number 8, which is the status of annexation to the Gills Hazard Drainage District. John?
Yes, we have few annexations out there. we needed some new checks because some of the checks that were sent for the Board of Equalization were stale dated because I was waiting for the auditor's office of TRA, tax rate area assignments for these annexations, and I sent 9 into the state at once and probably overwhelmed them. They had some issues with the TRA letters, and it was simply a misunderstanding, so I believe John Beaver over at the auditor's office corrected those. I've received 3 of the 4 checks, and the 4th one is going to be, I'm going to get it next week. So hopefully we'll meet our December 1st deadline for all of this, and that all of it will be through the Board of Equalization. So that's really the status of all these annexations that we had quite a few this year. So we'll be good to go.
Okay. All right, moving down to the next item is the conference, October 19th and 21st of 23?
22.
Well, that's already
Did
gone.
I say
so
23 in here?
That's superfluous.
They already had it, yeah.
Yeah,
It
through the
was on
chair.
October 19th through the 21st.
Yeah, no, that was myself. I went and I actually voted on our behalf. Mark Boomgutter couldn't make it. And Carmen Baines actually went down there to his alternate. It was very informal. I'm sorry to say very formal. I really learned a lot. I would definitely recommend anyone, me, I don't have the experience that you all have. So it was really benefiting to sit through those sessions. And especially when, on the last day, there was a live session of basically 2 fires, districts annexing with each other. And it was pretty neat. It was, I thought it was well worth it. I gained a lot from it. And next year it's going to be held in Monterey. So it's going to be a lot easier. We'll be able to drive there. And I would really, I'd recommend that the whole board go. I mean, especially since it's going to be down in Monterey, it's going to be, we're not paying for plane tickets and so forth. And you get a lot out of it. But the networking is incredible. We were able to gain some insight from, from the ex-mayor of Beverly Hills and so forth, and some other county supervisors. And remember, this is not just electeds. This is those that are just on the commission itself. So it was very neat. I'm glad I went.
Very good. Thank you for the report.
So you and Carmen both went, right?
Carmen and I both went, yeah.
Right, and that was the purpose of, Mike just said the exact thing that
Yeah,
my
'cause-
expectations was, is get out and meet people.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is how to, what is Lafca? That was one of the 4-hour courses, was about, really getting the nitty gritty of it, and what does one do, and why do you need it? And when was first implemented and why? So.
I sat on a panel on SB 938, and that legislation is going to change the way LAFCOs do MSRs and the expectations from the MSRs. So if certain criteria are not met, then LAFCO will need to possibly hold a public hearing, giving the district a year to correct the situation. It seems like financial mismanagement, not complying with the Brown Act, and there's several other items. And so we'll be seeing this, and this takes effect January 1st, so hopefully the fire MSR will be done soon. And if there are these inadequacies, that we're gonna do follow-up. And I think that's gonna have an effect on any MSR that we do. They're just not gonna hit the shelf anymore. And
Yeah, through the chair, one thing I want to point out too, John was able to set up some meetings with Supervisor Baines and myself and some other supervisors down from Central California about the water situation and so forth, what's going on. So that was benefit in its all itself right there. So I appreciate that, John, you setting those meetings up.
yeah, and that's one reason you go, is you make these connections, just
So
like water situation.
we learned a lot about what's happening to them down there and what's coming this way. So it prepares us for the future.
There were other meetings, such as meetings on transition and of staff There were meetings on fire service reviews in Sacramento County's example.
Any comment or any questions to our, on the conference? Okay, thank you. Executive Officer's Report, John?
Okay. I wrote a few things down here. In city of Yuba City has a small district called the Tierra Buena City Subsidiary District, which is no longer useful. It provided sewer. It was kind of a remnant from the county. Doug is too familiar with it when he was at the county, but it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. And so I'm working with the city attorney, their staff, to develop a city application to Lafca to dissolve this district. We've been having some meetings with Sutter Point regarding the MSR and what we're going to do about the sphere of influence versus the annexations of various areas. And we're talking mostly at this point fire, but it does, the Sutter Point area is going to need to have other services, for example, roads. And depending if it's going to be in the CSA or CSD, County Service Area or County's Community Services District, what is going to happen. So we're trying to get a little information up front about that. That project is going to take a long time to get through, several years, because it's going to come in various phases. And I'm not sure when the first phase is. I'm hoping it's at least setting the sphere is earlier than later. With the state controller's office, they continuously send me letters about the Meridian Cemetery District that's been dissolved for years. I've talked to Don about it. It's a perennial thing. I've sent them the form, the LAFCO action that took place years ago. And I still get a letter. So I got another one this week. So I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, that there was a law passed a few years ago that if you have an inactive district, that the state controller's office we have a LAFCO process if we receive a letter from them to dissolve the district. Well, they missed the boat, in my opinion, and their database is just terribly flawed. Otherwise, they would have caught the Tierra Buena subsidiary district. It's an inactive district now because the city does wastewater, and we could have used that process. So anyway, and it's multiplied by there's so many obscure little districts in the county that are subject there. Let's see. One thing is that the Cal LAFCO has a legislative platform every year, and we propose legislation. That's how this SB 938 got through. That was a Cal LAFCO supported bill. We also have a lot of legislation from what they call an omnibus bill. It's a change of language that in certain bill or certain things that nobody really cares about. It's non-controversial, and so that can get approved much easier. Scott, you're on the legislative committee, correct? Yeah. So Scott's on the legislative committee, and I've got a few ideas about like what does change of organization mean, because the way it's been used for protest hearings is it means conclusion of the proceedings of the change of organization. Well, the conclusion of the proceedings is when I record a final document on the Baines annexation. It's done. It was recorded. But during the protest hearing, there's some issues dealing with if there were a protest hearing for this one. There's some issues of, okay, do we have? If someone protests after the close of the public hearing, does that mean that we still have to hold an election or go another step? And so I'd like some clarity in the legislation there. And we can talk more about this in another county, but I'm thinking because we had that situation come up there and the people there intimately understand that, So that's one idea I have for legislation. Another is there's got to be some cleanup of SB 938 on the willingness or unwillingness of a successor agency to take over a defunct district. And so that was an issue. It's a conundrum. So we're working through that. And there are always several others, and we'll keep you informed through the process. But if any of you have any thoughts about why do we have this in LAFCO? You know, and maybe it's not needed, and we've seen that before.
Yes, in that regard, I was just at the Legislative Committee meeting. One of the issues that came up through court decisions last year was a court decision that LAFCO could not enforce an indemnity agreement against the developer in a situation where the commission had denied his application for annexation to a special district, and he then challenged that denial in court. The developer lost, but then refused to indemnify San Luis Obispo LAFCO for its attorney's fees, which amounted to nearly $500,000. LAFCO sued, and it went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal said, LAFCO, you have no statutory authority to require indemnification as a mandatory condition of application. It's not, you can't argue it's a contract because there's no quid pro quo. It's not voluntary. And so the court threw out the indemnification agreement. That was then appealed to the California Supreme Court, which denied a hearing on it. So it stands as the law, at least in that district. So at a statewide level, we're very concerned about this issue because most LAFCOs, including Sutter LAFCO, have limited budgets. And if you got hit with a lawsuit, you could easily spend $500,000 in legal fees. And so normally, if you have an indemnification agreement with the developer, it's the developer who's going to be on the hook for that. But this case is suggesting that we do not have that authority. So we agreed at the Legislative Committee level this last Friday that our number one priority in the next legislative session will be to seek statutory authority for indemnification. It's already there for city and county land use agencies in the land use and development law. It's also in the Subdivision Map Act that you can require indemnification. LAFCO is the one that's left that doesn't have such specific authorization. So we think it is something that should be non-controversial, but as you know, with anything you try and do in the legislature, someone will object. But we believe it's important enough that we're going to be proceeding. I was selected, since I raised the issue, to be the chair of the committee that is developing the legislation. So I will be working with other members of our statewide organization to develop legislation. Then we're going to be out looking for sponsors from the legislature to sponsor this legislation through the legislature. Just want to let you know what your council and staff are doing and at a statewide level on your behalf.
Thank you.
Speaking of which, I'm the host of the Cal LAFCO staff workshop in the end of April. And so if any of you have any issues that you've seen at a Cal LAFCO conference about, well, why can't LAFCO do this? Or maybe I could get an agenda item on that so that we can educate the staff for the various LAFCOs throughout California. And some of you may have seen something that I don't see because like you're not with it 24/7 like I am. You notice things that I don't. So I think that's important to note. So if you've got any ideas for me, I would appreciate hearing from them, and I'll take them to the LAFCO committee, which I guess I'm on, for the, you know, that's a whole other story, but anyway, I'm on that. In addition to hosting it, I've got to help with the program a little bit. And I want to make sure that there's a rural element to this and that it's not all Orange County. I mean, Orange County is great, but I think we need to look at it up here. There was a little snafu with the City Select Committee. That's why Grace is here. She's actually the member today of the commission, and it's because what was reported to me was incorrect. So the clerk to the board serves as the staff for the City Select Committee, and that consists of the two mayors, and the mayors appoint members. Those mayors will appoint members of Lafca to their respective terms. So in January, I guess we're going to have, we will have a member from, an alternate member from the city of Live Oak for 2 years, and then we'll revert back to the city of Yuba City. So that's really all I have to say.
Okay, very good. Any comments or questions to John? Okay, Commissioner, does any commissioner have anything to say? Any? I guess not. Well, the next item on the agenda is adjournment. So this commission is now adjourned until 2 p.m. on January the 12th.
2 p.m.?